Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm doing a top 5, but not my usual top 5 movies in my collection by actor or director. Today we're going to be doing the top 5 westerns that are in my collection. Now, to be considered, the movie has to be obviously a western. It has to be a period piece, nothing that would be considered modern. I guess, anything that has a western setting but isn't really a western, I didn't consider. So something that took place basically in the Wild West, and I didn't include any comedies. This is just, serious westerns, shoot 'em up cowboys, that kind of thing. I love westerns. Some people, probably younger people, aren't as into westerns. There was a big boom for westerns at one point, and I guess it kind of fizzled out. Now you get one, every once in a while, and this was actually a hard list for me because I guess I might be rare in this way, and I don't know how well this video is gonna do, but I really like westerns. I mean, I would love to live in the Wild West, just gambling, drinking, playing cards, ladies, shoot 'em up, just wild, living free. That sounds cool to me, but that's me. I don't know how many other people are into it, but westerns is a great genre of films, and I really enjoy them. There's a lot of great ones. I had to leave so many off, like True Grit and Appaloosa. I didn't put The Wild Bunch. The one that really I struggled with was Django Unchained, because it's one of my favorite movies. It was number 2 on my Tarantino list, who's my favorite director. The reason I struggled with it and I didn't put it is because it kind of has more meaning than just the Western part. The whole slavery aspect, I think, is so important to the film that it kind of overtakes the Western aspect, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I didn't want to put it in a just straight Western category. I think it has more elements to it that lends itself to be its own thing. That's just my opinion. That's why it's not in there, and it kind of killed me because it's one of my favorite movies. And I didn't put any John Wayne. I think that might have some people saying, what? How do you have westerns without John Wayne? I'm not a big John Wayne fan. I don't have any of his movies in my collection. And when I said True Grit, I meant the new one. I don't think he's a good actor. I just, his personal, being a human being part of it, I'm not even considering that in my assessment of him. That's a whole different story. I just don't think he's a good actor, and I don't enjoy his movies. I don't think they're good. Hey, that's me. Other people love John Wayne. That's fine, but I just don't. So none of his movies are here. And I hope this list of things I just said doesn't spoil the list at all. I don't think it will, because I got 5 great ones. Speaking of that, coming in at number 5 is The Magnificent Seven. So 7 and 5. This movie is star-studded. Some of the best actors of the time, and I think this movie set the tone for a lot of stuff that came after it in terms of the narrative. The poor town being raided by bandits. They can't defend themselves, so they get some hired guns to help. And I think you see that a lot, not just in westerns, and a bunch of different genres. So I think this set the tone for that, and it's really cool. And another thing it does, the whole assembling the team thing. We got to go get this guy and go get that guy. They have different, skills and different specialties. You see that in a lot of different narratives also. And I think this was one of the first ones that did something like that. And like I said, great actors. Cool story, that whole thing about saving the town, and it's 7 against an army of 40, 50 guys. that are raiding it, and they don't all make it. But and then what it is they do it for money at first, but then they kind of realize that it's more about helping the people. And the people in the village, that they're just fighting for their lives, and these people are raiding them, and they don't get taking their food and their money and all that stuff. And you kind of see that the hired gun thing goes away for most of them, and it's more about the people, which is a nice theme. And really good action, some good shoot 'em ups, and they have to plan for different attacks, and it's just a really good movie. And like I said, amazing cast. So really good people in this movie. I mean, Yul Brynner, young Charles Bronson. It's there's so many people in it, and it's a really good movie. I suggest it, but it's not my favorite, so that's why it's at number 5. Coming in at number 4, some people might be surprised that this isn't higher, but it doesn't hold up as well. The story does, the characters, the actors, that holds up well. Meaning not the acting so much, but the characters that the actors portray hold up. And it's just a fun story. Well, here it is. Anyway, it's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So you got one of the best Western actors, Clint Eastwood. And it's a very simple story about trying to get the loot. That's a common theme you see a lot. Trying to get that loot, and everybody's gunning for it. And it's just it's 3 main people trying to get it, and they kind of foil each other, and especially the main 2 characters, Clint Eastwood and the other character, they have a love-hate relationship. They're friends, they're enemies. They're always setting each other up, trying to kill each other, and then kind of letting each other go. They start off as partners, and and that follows all the way through till the end. And there's some great action scenes with some shoot 'em up, but it's more about like the long journey. That's another thing that I love about westerns, is that the long journey to get somewhere and get something accomplished, and a goal. And they have to go through so much because it was such rugged terrain, and you had to be tough to survive that, and everybody had a gun, and everybody was willing to shoot you up, and everybody wants that gold. That's what the treasure is in this. So get the loot, which is the gold. And they great score, and just some cool scenes of really good interaction. And it's during the Civil War, so you get a little bit of that. Both sides, they have, they're on either side, so sometimes they have to act like they're with the South when they see the South, and act like they're with the North when they see the North. And they're just they're schemers, and they're just trying to get to that final destination, to get that gold, and without being killed or set up by the other people that are trying to get it. So good story. Clint Eastwood, can't go wrong on a Western. And great movie. That's coming in at number 4, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Coming in at number 3, we're going to get a little more modern here, and that's Young Guns. I love Young Guns. I love the second one too. I didn't put it only because I like the first one better. Not by much though. I almost put the second one in here, but then I was like, you know what? The first one will suffice. You'll get it, because it's kind of, a continuation of the story. But I mean, I another one with a great cast, so many good actors, and who from the time were pretty big. And Emilio Estevez is Billy the Kid. He's so great in this role. He's such a wise ass, and he's just a bad man with that pistol in his hand. And he's I love how the story is. In the Wild West, you had a lot of people competing in cattle business. And there was this called Santa Fe Ring, and they pretty much controlled it. One guy tried to stand up to them and make his own way, and taking these young guys who were going on a bad path, going to be criminals and gunslingers or whatever was going to happen to them. But they were younger, and still maybe he was able to reach them. He took them in, taught them how to read, but they became his regulators, and they would guard his property, and they were kind of his little army. and they get into it, with the Santa Fe ring, and they become outlaws because the Santa Fe ring has political ties, and they got the sheriffs and the marshals in their pockets. So it's them just going to war with everyone. And great, great, great shoot 'em up action. Very quotable, great lines. And like I said, Billy the Kid, Emilio Estevez playing him is one of the best characters in Westerns. He just nails it completely. And you root for them, And they have their internal struggles, and, they're riding across, they're trying to get away without getting killed, with still trying to defend their leader who got killed. And it's a big revenge thing, but it's also trying to do the right thing. But they're outlaws, so it's very murky, but it's really cool, and the end is just off the hook. The shootout scene at the end, great. Jack Palance, yeah, he's such a bad guy. Good bad guy. Great movie. I love it. I love the second one also. I would check them both out if you get a chance. Coming in number 3, Young Guns. Number 2. Another Clint Eastwood, but more modern, when he's older, and that's The Unforgiven. This movie is amazing. It's a slow burn, but man, is it worth it. Clint Eastwood's William Money character, the whole old gunslinger who is trying to live a normal life, do the right thing, and hang up his guns and retire, but gets dragged back in, and he's just known. He was a bad person, and his kids are kind of on, they're hungry and they don't have that much money. His wife passed away, and he's kind of struggling with being a farmer, and he takes that one last job. He rides with Morgan Freeman and another kid that they add on to. There's these. I hate saying this because it's just not right, but back then these whores, they were that's what they called them, but they were prostitutes, who one of them got cut up by this guy who was just an asshole, and they pulled their money to hire some guns to get revenge, and but it's in a town run by Gene Hackman, who was another badass guy, and he comes out of retirement, Clint Eastwood's character. They ride in, and oh man, they end up killing Morgan Freeman and trying to get him to rat out Clint Eastwood. And they kill him. That's his best friend. They kill his best friend, and that's all she wrote. He goes in, he does the job for the ladies. Gets the revenge for them, but then it's his revenge time for them killing his friend, and he goes in there and. Oh my God, just some of the best scenes, and just great tension, and the stare him down thing, which I think really started in the movie I said before, which is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Pardon me. The whole waiting and staring down, that tension is really only in Westerns, really. You know what I mean? Where they're holding on to their guns and they're ready to shoot, but everybody's waiting and looking around, and then it pops off. And there's some great scenes like that in this. It starts off kind of as, like I said, the retired gunslinger thing coming out for one last job, but then it turns into a revenge thing. Just a great movie, great acting because of who's in it. I mean, you can't go wrong with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, and Gene Hackman, but really great writing. The dialogue is amazing, and you root for him, but reluctantly, because how bad of a person he was, but you kind of understand where he's coming from, and you root for him, but he's a bad man, and he shows it. Especially the last, I'd say, half hour of that movie is intense, hardcore, guns slinging, shoot 'em up action. I love it. Great movie. Such an underrated movie. And he's older in it, so it's later in his career, and he kind of come full circle back to the Western thing that kind of really made Clint Eastwood popular. He has so many, and I considered a bunch of them for this, but the two I think does Clint Eastwood justice. So number 2, The Unforgiven. And number 1, one of my favorite movies of all time, clear cut, without question, best Western ever in my opinion, and that's Tombstone. I mean, Tombstone is, like I said, one of my favorite movies, regardless of genre. There is a movie that Kevin Costner made called Wyatt Earp that's a similar story about the same thing, which is very good. I have it, it's in the collection, really like it, even considered it. But it's too similar to this, and this just blows it out of the water. I mean, the cast is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp, amazing. But the scene stealer, one of the greatest characters in movies, if you ask me, is Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. One of the most quotable characters ever, the smoothest cat out there. I mean, just the best gunslinger there is. They do the shootout at the OK Corral. The original Cowboys. They got a giant crew, and they're just running things. No one says anything to them, and they just, they shot up Dodge City, and they went to Tombstone, and Wyatt Earp is a lawman who kind of has given it up and trying to go into business with his brothers, but they keep getting pulled back into it because they're so good at it. And his brother is the first one that says, we can't live in a town with no law, and they become the law. And boy, do they put down the law. I mean, the shootouts are just off the hook, and just the action, the scenes with the great dialogue and the interaction between the brothers versus the Cowboys, and Doc Holliday just tops it all off. And it's a great story. And the other thing that I really like about this movie is the way that they show brothers. You know what I mean? That family comes first, and it's them against the world. And even though he's not blood, Doc Holliday is Wyatt Earp's brother. You know what I mean? And they stick together through thick and thin. Some of when one of them gets shot, you better run. They're not messing around. And they're about law and order, cleaning up the town, and just it turns into really just a turf war between the criminals and the law, and the Earps of the law, with Doc Holliday helping out. Just an amazing, amazing movie. Without question, my favorite Western of all time, Tombstone. I highly recommend it. As for Westerns, I mean, listen, if you're not into them, I understand that, but I would really seriously give them a second look, because they're really well-made films. They're about America, in its early days. And, if you like, hey, listen, if you like badass shoot 'em up action in like sci-fi or, action movies, you got that here. It's just in the Wild West, different time. And I love period pieces, if you know my other videos. So Westerns are great. I would check them out. If you like this video, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Hit the notification bell so you can, anytime I drop a video, you get the notification, and you can check those out. And if you like them, share them with your friends. Hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. And let everybody else know, all your other movie nut friends. If you like Westerns and you got different ones I didn't name, or you like these in a different order, or you want to just discuss it, hit them in the comments, and we'll chop it up. That being said, this is Mr. Movie signing off, and I'll see you again next time at the Flicks.